back of the rim. Garnett on the slam. Here's a Curry way downtown. Oh, what a shot!
The game Kawhi Leonard broke out as a superstar in this league is actually one of the strangest NBA games of all time. After barely impacting the series in games 1 and 2, he comes out and sets a career high with the series hanging in the balance. The San Antonio Spurs, and the stats back this up, might have played the greatest game of all time. Meanwhile, the Miami Heat took some extremely questionable shots, played some very questionable lineups, and then seemed to X Chris Bosh out of the equation for absolutely no reason. He played well in San Antonio, and I don't know what happened on the trip over to Miami. Either way, this video today will be a combo of examining how Kawhi broke out, and the Spurs' overall brilliant play. I don't know if we've seen anything like it. Just like you may not have ever seen anything like Viore offers. Shout out to Viore for sponsoring today's video, who provide performance apparel inspired by coastal California. While the clothes are stylish, they are designed for movement for whatever it is you may be doing in life. For instance, when you see me working on my first show here in a couple of weeks, I'll be donning this lightweight, insanely soft Prado Tech polo. But what the camera won't see are these meta pants, which stretch like joggers but finish elevated. As you can see, without being all baggy and droopy, it's got space for all the movement you need, and deep enough pockets for you to comfortably fit your entire hand in. We're probably all familiar with having pants where you put something in it and now it's kind of ruining the fit, looks like you're carrying a bunch of stuff. Yeah, well, not with Viore. When it finally cools off, I throw on the beach fleece. And I've had clothes similar to this in style, but then you can also feel the weight of them, and especially in Florida, that just means you can't really use them. These I was able to take outside for a stroll and stay cool. Not to mention the hat they sent over, which, as somebody who's been wearing these as long as y'all seen me on camera, yeah, gotta love it. No matter the situation, Viore is bringing you apparel that looks and feels great regardless of what you're doing. So experience this quality clothing for yourself using the link in the comment section and description. Once again, huge shout out to Viore for sponsoring today's video. Before we dive into the nitty gritty, it is important to note that the 2 adjustments the Spurs made in this game won them the series. 1, they subbed Thiago Splitter out for Boris Diaw in the starting lineup, and 2, gave Kawhi Leonard the green light from the jump. It was as if Miami wasn't expecting either and they had no counters for either. Let's take a look. You'll see here that the Miami Heat were in zone, allowing Kawhi Leonard to attract Dwayne Wade and get downhill immediately, drawing a foul on Bosh. This was one of the Heat's biggest problems series long, is Wade just, especially on the defensive end, it wasn't there anymore. Most importantly for this game, however, we're only a few minutes into the first quarter, and the Spurs have already gone to Kawhi for creation. You'll see how that set the tone. I cannot for the life of me understand some of the shots Mario Chalmers was getting in this game, and here you see he fires up a quick 3 with 18 seconds on the shot clock. LeBron is initially tracking the ball, but then realizes nobody's got Kawhi. Bosh was making an attempt here to point it out to Rashard Lewis, though it was already too late. Barely a minute after the first one, Kawhi's got a clean look, and now San Antonio is up 8. Boris Diaw was major in this series. He was a bigger body that could keep them mobile, and it was just a costly matchup issue for the Miami Heat. Their options outside of Bosh were Udonis Haslem, Rashard Lewis, and 50-year-old Chris Anderson, so there were many instances like this where they were just able to create an advantage. Meanwhile, on the other side, Miami was able to create no advantages. This was because instead of forcing Tim Duncan into drop later, which was kind of successful, a lot of these possessions just started with LeBron looking for the best way to get downhill. Meanwhile, we don't care about Mario Chalmers, Dwayne Wade is not a shooter. If Rashard Lewis beats us, he beats us. And I may or may not have mentioned so far, they just completely neglected Chris Bosh. Kawhi is in perfect help position, obliterates the attempt, and we're going the other way. You're gonna see throughout this game, come hell or high water, Miami always had their big step high. While I do think the reason, including Tony Parker, was pretty justified, it was totally unsustainable and just flat out ineffective. Parker is going to defeat this setup multiple times by going left. At the same time, you see Boris Diaw pop out to the wing, which drags Ray Allen to the paint. The Spurs moved this basketball all series so fast. 50-year-old Ray Allen, who's just slid down to the paint, now has to make a run out to Danny Green, who almost won Finals MVP in 2013 off of shooting. Let me tell you right now, the options on the wing, specifically at the 2 being Ray Allen and Dwayne Wade on defense, was detrimental. I wasn't kidding, by the way. This is like clockwork. You see Parker surveys his options, Duncan never actually commits to the screen, and once again going left, the defense responds. Duncan shifts down to the middle, always an effective way to beat the zone, and Kawhi Leonard, who once again was not an offensive threat the first 2 games, burns the Heat for a second 3 from the exact same spot. Being LeBron here having to decide whether to commit to Tim Duncan close to the rim or Kawhi Leonard on the wing, it was just a deadly choice. Just like that, in 7 minutes, he's tallied up 13 points, which beats his total from both games instantly. And once again, again, I ask of the Miami Heat and Mario Chalmers, what the hell? This one is going to end up with Duncan's second most egregious missed layup in Miami, but I just wanted to point it out to show how committed the Heat were to the bit. Rain, sleet, or snow, stepped way too high. As I said earlier, putting Duncan in PNR on the perimeter was about the only effective thing they found, and of course, throughout an entire game, it would not make up the gap. Still just had to use it as a setup to give Bron his props. They might not have been that quality of looks, though he was going bar for bar with Kawhi for a little. Still, Kawhi's job was not to shut LeBron down, it was to bother him, and he did that. Possessions like these where you could see it coming, he made sure the catch wasn't easy, constantly kept his hands active because you know Bron is reading, and a couple of times he flat out poked it loose. This led to broken plays, and this version of Miami just did not have it. And then off the broken play, I'm just gonna let you see what happens. Just a thing of beauty. Because Miami continued to make themselves predictable, get the commitment from Birdman, Bron steps over a little, but nobody's fully committing to a Thiago splitter role. But outthinking the 2014 Spurs was impossible. Diaw doesn't fall for it, uses his patience and takes a dribble and gets it over to Ray Allen's wing. This immediately forces help. Now they've got the advantage they want, foul. You can tell I'm raising an eyebrow at Miami's commitment to the scheme on defense, however, I did say they had a point, because you see the minute they don't step so high. Not only does Parker immediately read this and take advantage, Miami's lackadaisical body language on defense says everything about this play and really how the series finished. And for the first time, I will make mention of the score. We're about to start talking about some records. 20 of 25 field goals up to this point, running 5% better than the best half in any finals game ever. 75% from three. Kawhi now matching his point total for the series in a half, and every Spurs player that touched the floor had scored. Kawhi continuing not to make things easy, shadows LeBron in the corner, and perfectly reads the action, nearly forcing a turnover. This is up 20, by the way. Also appears LeBron is telling Rashard Lewis to be up further, faster. This is not the first time in the series you see a Heat player get mad at him. Oh, you will never see these Spurs happier than when they can involve both D-Wade and Ray Allen in an action. After Kawhi shifts over to the corner, you get a handoff between Duncan and Parker, and that's literally all you need. The side's empty, Wade just cannot do it anymore, and what does Ray Allen help to Tony Parker? Welcome back, Ray Allen. Yeah, it wasn't on purpose, it's off of a turnover. And TP is just going to take his time and set the table. Again and again, they just walk the Miami Heat right into the traps. We're going left again. Bosh shifts down, actually daring Boris Diaw to shoot. And this just wasn't the right half to be testing anybody on the Spurs. Yes, they successfully did it. They come up to the half shooting 75.8%, just edging out the previous record. In a minute, we might just have to start record watch. Largest halftime lead in finals game by a road team since the 96 Bulls. In hindsight, throughout the years, I had found it amazing that Bron and Wade were able to have success given that Wade really wasn't a floor spreader. And you see that issue represented perfectly here. This Rashard Lewis role means nothing to San Antonio, and Danny Green is perfectly fine leaving Dwayne Wade on the left wing. A healthy Wade might have been able to still take advantage of this getting downhill. Here he opts to pass after running into Kawhi, and Leonard's got no issue jamming this one up too, which is exactly why we were fine with the Rashard Lewis role in the first place. Once again, the job is to bother, not stop. Also, you can see things continuing with a series average of 9 points compared to the 20 he's got tonight. How did this not end up being a little drop-off pass to Bron, and instead ended up being Chalmers going for a contested floater against Kawhi Leonard? Take a look at where Rashard Lewis is, and I want to tell you this is how you could already know the play was over. Duncan sets the back screen on LeBron, which initially causes him to look for the back door. He quickly realizes Parker might be floating off to the corner, and regardless, his angle is already off. You know with Tony Parker, that means Bosh has got to be committed. And now Rashard Lewis is standing in the spot where a player like Chris Bosh should be. Yeah, the Heat, they just did not have the bodies, man. Quick pass to Diaw, went to Duncan, and bucket. Not only has Mario Chalmers taken some very questionable shots already, he's cold tonight. So once again, we do not care. And it's not an issue that Patty Mills got switched on to LeBron in the post. He actually does his best to steal the pass. That's about all he could do there. Then of course this brings Duncan, which Bron probably still could have dealt with and drawn a foul or something. But here comes the claw. Not only that, but as you'll see in a play later, even if Bron had already made this read and wanted to go to Chalmers, I promise Boris Diaw was snatching it. What happened before this game? On a fast break where LeBron is clearly trying to get positioning on Ginobili, not only does Chalmers pull it back and contemplate taking another quick three, he uses it to try to catch Patty Mills off guard, which doesn't work, and results in a charge. I genuinely want to know what happened with Mario Chalmers' game. This was a competitive series for games 1 and 2, if I haven't said that. All right, now we're at the point where we can talk about Bosh. It was Norris Cole too, man. They get the switch here, and without even looking for what they can do with the mismatch, Norris Cole has opted for an off-the-dribble pull-up mid-range. Granted, this is a good shot. You've got the big playing off you. This is more so to the theme. They iced Chris Bosh out of this game, and I do not know why. He was playing well in San Antonio. And in a lineup where you've got Birdman, Norris Cole, and Ray Allen, your main options are Braun and Bosh. He's going to get the ball in the corner this play, pass it back, and just sit there. That's it. Nothing happening on this side of the floor that would create an advantage and actually get him an open look. Boris Diaw is able to stay in his vicinity the entire time. And while they were at a point in the game where they had finally drummed up some momentum, you wind up with a Norris Cole contested floater. This has got to be the most bizarre game of all time. On this play, I just want you to watch the offensive movement of a guy who is only a few years removed from having been the first option on a team. Body language is poor. What was going on here? And once again, on a floor where he and James are the main two options, he is totally uninvolved. And I did see LeBron's idea here, but nothing easy for San Antonio. Parker's got him smothered. Duncan's already taken away the layup. Diaw is in the lane. And oh look, so is Danny Green. Oh god, that was so easy. Hi, I'm Chris Bosh. I just played pretty well on the road and I've always been capable of more than this, but okay, I'm gonna set some more half-hearted screens. Stand in the perfect positioning so that the best player on my team really has no space, and I'm really not gonna get to do much else. Guys, I don't get it. I know a lot of you probably don't remember watching games 1 and 2. Please do, and then, yeah, we just need the story. Something happened on that plane. And I am Kawhi Leonard. I know you're not checking for me because I wasn't featured much in the offense of game 1 and 2, but yeah, you should never have this version of Dwayne Wade on the same side of the court as me. And then directly on the other end, I am going to make these reads as tough as possible, do my part in shutting off this drive, and then ultimately forcing a turnover. Once again though, bar for bar. Except, of course, via Leonard's and the Spurs defense. Yeah, the turnovers, it's a different story. Bizarro world, man. First off, this version of Wade better not even think about dribbling around Kawhi. And now we've got 9 seconds left in the shot clock as Norris Cole is going to have to start an action with Birdman. But wait, where is Bosh? They are technically within striking distance. The help on the floor for LeBron and a hampered Wade is Ray Allen, Norris Cole, and Birdman. This ends exactly how you think it would end. And whoops, even Ray Allen is confused on why he is switching on to Kawhi Leonard. Game over. Directly down the other end, now LeBron is just getting frustrated. This Norris Cole screen doesn't have a hope of actually getting the switch they want. Kawhi sticks with it, and cookies. Oh, and also a magnificent fast break. This sequence probably officially ended the game. There was still a sliver of hope. Unfortunately, this is Rashard Lewis standing at the point of attack and Birdman on the other side of PNR action. Just enjoy this. Since the game kind of ended there, I just wanted to share one more thing with you all. It is a Mario Chalmers screen. Braun figures he's got the switch he wants, but Mills loses his balance and ruins the drive. Except Kawhi runs towards it and forces Chalmers to blink. Based on the rest of this game, this had no shot at going in. Still though, I don't know if I've ever seen a team that looked so good throughout the first 2 games just come completely apart in the very next game. So after Chris Bosh put up 18 points in both games 1 and 2, which were extremely competitive games, he took 4 shots here. Ray Allen took 8, Lewis 7, Norris Cole took 9 shots. Mario Chalmers went 0 for 5. He still took more shots than Chris Bosh. Because I watched the other 2 games directly before this, I can't figure out what happened. It'd have been one thing if it was San Antonio's plan to keep him out of action, but the way it went, there was never any serious intent to involve him. Meanwhile, Kawhi went on to capitalize and use this to fuel his first finals MVP. With this career high in one of the more pressured situations a young player can be in, it was more or less the catalyst to giving him the keys as the rest of the team aged out. After rewatching this series, yeah, if you've ever heard hype about the 2014 Spurs, it's really just not hype. How deep they were, the way they could move the ball, the chemistry. I don't know if they could beat any team in NBA history, but they could definitely give any of them a run for their money. As the vets we grew up with continue to age, what was your favorite memory of Kawhi Leonard? Be sure to leave it in the comment section. Also hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoyed, and hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications every time a new video drops. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.